During my early working days, I've had several experiences where someone has said something to me, and even if I was hearing it for the first time, I either made up my mind about what it meant or I was just too embarrassed to ask. But slowly, I learned my lesson that people don't judge you when you ask clarification questions, but getting it wrong can have unpleasant consequences. I got reminded of this lesson while reading Brené Brown's book, Dare to Lead. Hi, welcome back to Stories at Work, a series where I share real stories you can use to drive home powerful business points. Our website, storyworks.in, has over 150 stories, and we are adding one every week. Let's start today's story. Brené Brown is an American academic and podcaster known for her work on shame, vulnerability, and leadership, and for her widely viewed 2010 TEDx talk. If you haven't seen it, you should. She has written six number one New York Times best-selling books. One of them is titled Dare to Lead. This story is from that book. In 2008, Brené was invited to give what she considered her first big corporate talk. She was used to speaking at hospitals and universities, but this was different. A big leadership event. TED style talks, 20 speakers lined up for the day. As she stood backstage in the green room, she pulled back the curtain to take a peek at the audience and she froze. In her words, it was like a Brooks Brothers convention. Now, for those who don't know, Brooks Brothers is a famous American clothing brand known for dark suits and white shirts, the classic executive look. So, what she saw was a row of men, or actually rows of men, all in dark suits, all looking very corporate and very, very intimidating. She shut the curtain and in panic she exclaimed, "Oh my God, they are all business people, executives, or maybe even FBI agents." The speaker next to her, a cheerful young Australian named Pete, said, "Yeah, mate, it's a conference for C levels. Didn't they tell you that?" The blood drained from Brené's face, and as she slowly sat down on the empty chair, Pete continued, "C level, CEOs, COOs, CFOs, CMOs, CHROs." And then Pete then knelt next to Brené and put his arm on her shoulder and asked, "You okay, mate?" Brené initially hesitated and then said, "They did tell me it was sea level audience, but I thought that meant down to earth. Like they are real sea level, salt of the earth, SEA, sea level." Pete laughed out loud and said, "That's brilliant. You should use that in your talk." That little misunderstanding captures something important. How often do we assume we know instead of asking? Imagine if she had just asked, "What does sea level mean?" when they had briefed her. A 2-second question would have saved her a lot of stress and self doubt. But we've all been there, right? Nodding along in meetings, pretending we understand a term, a process, or a client acronym, only to realize later we have built an entire plan on wrong assumptions. The irony is, asking a question may feel like it exposes ignorance, but it actually shows clarity, humility, and the courage to get things right. Brené went on, of course, to give a very powerful talk. And what gave her enormous courage that day was what Pete said to her next. He looked at Brené, squeezed her shoulders, and while leaving said, "Look out into that audience again. These are people, just like the rest of us. Look at them again. They are people." Today, before every speech, before she goes on stage, she whispers to herself, "People, people, people, people," and that always helps her calm down. What a story. There are two quick lessons in this story. And if you can think of some more, do let me know. The first lesson is when you don't know, ask. When you don't know, ask. Because a 2-second question can save you hours of confusion, or in Brené's case, a heart stopping moment of panic behind the curtain. Second, it's about our common fear of public speaking. I often remind participants in our public speaking program that the audience is made up of people just like you and me. And just as we've never attended a presentation hoping the speaker would fail, neither will they. It's in their best interest, for the best use of their time, that you succeed. I hope you enjoyed that story, and if you did, there are over 150 more on our website, storyworks.in. See you next week. Bye for now.